Good morning, Fractal Effects team. We're just tracking the market from the morning session, so please make sure you read the disclosure in the footer section of fractaleffects.com before we get started. If you're following along with us, make sure you're doing a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. So we had 10 o'clock news that dropped, which also dropped the market. But we have a trumpet model. Usually in a trumpet model, the market likes to sweep both sides. We had a double break to the downside. So there was your break. The market went back up, hit the DSD high, and we waited obviously for the 10 o'clock news. There was your double break. So now let's see if the market retraces back up into at least the DSD. Hit DSD low before it drops again. Otherwise, this could just be a runaway market. US 500 has already done that. US 500 dropped, did the double break. It actually created a new blue zone. I'm just going to get rid of this right here. So it created a new blue zone, tapped it as its double break retracement, and then dropped all the way down to this 4-hour. So we're really close to getting a bearish confirmation. We cannot buy this market. We have already 2 double breaks, and we're getting close to getting a confirmation here. So we'll wait for the confirmation and then a retracement and see if it gives us another setup. Otherwise, it might just keep dropping from here. Just got to be patient. So we weren't live last week just because there was a lot of news. I believe we only took one trade setup, which was on Tuesday last week, if I'm not mistaken. It's best to just stay out of the markets on weeks like that. Trade Monday, Tuesday, and then take the rest of the week off. It just gets ridiculously volatile. So we are working on a new version of our blue zone indicator. Where it outlines the breaks and the double breaks for you. And most likely it'll give you a percentage up in the right corner of whether or not that market's going to go up or down. So we're excited about that. We're going to hopefully roll that out in the next 2 weeks. And that makes everything just easier to read. So not only will you have accuracy, you also have a confirmation now. You'll have almost like, again, just the actual aggregate in the right-hand corner letting you know what the percentage is, the statistics. Looks like we might just have a bit of a runaway market here. So we do have our bearish confirmation. I want to see if we get a retracement. If we do get a retracement, it might only be to, so this is a 15-minute fair value gap. I'm just going to get that out of the way. And that's our new week opening gap. I believe that's what that, yeah. That's actually the purple zone. So today is Tuesday. Tuesday, if we're bullish, usually sets the low for the week. So this is actually a good sign that we dropped. Where's previous day's low? It's all the way down there. So a lot more potential downside here. We're still got to wait for that retracement. So NAS has not given us a retracement for either the double break from the blue zone strategy or the confirmation from the spotlight strategy. So we still got to wait for a retracement, most likely back to the reds. The 20 EMA here. Whereas US 500 has already kind of given us all that. So it seems to be just dropping past this 4 hour. There's another 4 hour down here. Just want to wait for that retracement on NAS. So this 4 hour down here could be most likely the next target, but I still want to see what was the next 5-minute fair value gap. So I didn't leave any 5-minute fair value gaps here other than this one. And it looks like it's creating one here. Oh, so this one it did leave open. So even though we pulled back into the EMAs after the crossover, we could get just a short bounce right off of here and a push down. Either way, I'd like to see some retracement, hopefully back into our range. And then an extension from here into this 4-hour. I would have loved to have taken it from here. On the US 500, this was the better sell. As mentioned before, we had a double break. It created a new blue zone. Remember, this is a dynamic market translator. This is not a time lagging indicator. It paints out these blue zones in real time. It painted it out, which the market then came back and tapped. And then that was the sell-off. Happened a little too fast for me. I was still setting up some of the charts. I was waiting for obviously the 10 o'clock news to drop. But just as quickly, double break, retracement. So when you have a double break, and then suddenly in the midst of the double break, you see a new blue zone forming, there's a higher chance that it will actually just pull back into that blue zone and then push from there. That will be your retracement, because usually after a double break, what do we wait for? A retracement back to our blue zone, and then we set up for a bearish 5M fair value gap to go in that direction. But anytime you have a blue zone created in real time as the market is dropping after the double break, there's a higher chance that it will just tap that blue zone and then take off. And when it does, it's not the easiest to get in, because as you can see, it tapped here, and that was the first 5M fair value gap created, which it did not tap. So it hasn't actually come back to tap any of the fair value gaps. So it would have been a fast entry on a 1M time frame, but it's not the safest. That's why I personally try to avoid those as well. But the numbers don't lie. When a new blue zone is created and you already have a double break in that direction, the market usually just comes back and taps it, like which it did on this candle here. Blue zone was created. This the market came back, tapped it right here, and then dropped. And on top of that, you had your NYC fair value gap as well. So NYC fair value gap was created, and at the same time you had a blue zone created in real time. That's a lot of confluence right there. So no real pullback yet, just continuing to drop. US 500 has already come into the next 4-hour fair value gap. It could use this to retrace. Right now there is no foothold. Still waiting for the market to come back. Let's see if it does. Otherwise we might switch over to US oil. Take a look there. And give it a couple more candles. So again, the market just continuing to drop. We have not come back to tap any of these fair value gaps at all. No real retracement after we got the confirmation short. So these are the new signals we're working on it. This is more of a demo. So we're still finalizing some of this stuff. So you'll get a signal that says break. This is for the blue zone strategy. You'll get a signal that says break, letting you know that the market wants to go up. And then you'll see a double break signal, meaning the market actually wants to go down. But obviously we're going to fix these up, and there'll be some more corresponding stuff in the corner here. By the time we're done with this market translator, it will be a no-brainer. You'll be able to figure this out in a matter of seconds just by looking at it. Oh, I got a double break. Oh, we're even working on a higher time frame analysis in the corner here. Just like we have for the spotlight, we have the higher time frame crossovers on the EMAs. We're going to have a higher time frame PD array set up here, where it'll tell you, are you sitting in a 4-hour fair value gap? Are you sitting in a daily fair value gap? Are you sitting in a weekly fair value gap? It'll all be right here. Once you have that, then you'll know. You'll be able to just look in the right-hand corner. Hey, we're sitting in a 4-hour fair value gap that wants to the downside, so it wants to go up on the higher time frame. You got to match that up. If that's red, and you have a downside expansion model with a double break to the downside, then you'll know that you really only want to take it to that 4-hour fair value gap. It won't paint out the 4-hour fair value gaps for you. That you're going to have to do still on the analysis, but we might create a different indicator that does that then. So again, just continuing to drop, no real pullback yet, has not tapped any of the fair value gaps. This could just be a runaway market. We might just flip over and check out oil really quick just to see what it's doing. Let's take a quick look. So clearly we have looks like a downside expansion model here. Hold on, just trying to center. It's one of the things I hate about the live stream. It seizes up our charts for some strange reason. I don't know why. I've been assured it's not our speed. So anyways, we have a downside expansion model. We have a sell model. There's your manipulation range low, the green line. There's your manipulation range high. I believe it's sitting right inside the midpoint of the blue zone, right there. So we had a break to the upside. So far it's looking like a clean break. Let's see if it gives us a 5M fair value gap to go short. That's an old 4-hour fair value gap. So let me just go to the 4-hour and just see what the targets would be. So we don't really have any 4-hour fair value gaps to the downside. So I'm just going to mark out this 4-hour low. And this 4-hour fair value gap looks like we just touched it. As mentioned before, pick a color that your eyes can easily recognize. For me, purple's always been 4-hour fair value gap. So a lot of consolidation on oil, as you can see. I'm just going to get rid of this since we already have a green line there. So right now, we're bouncing off the blue zone here. Let's see if it gives us a 5M bearish fair value gap or if it gives us a double break. One of those has to come first. So there's our DSD low. We're beneath it right now. We're at the DSD high. It's all the way up there. Inside the new week opening gap. Remember, it's all about probabilities. Just wait. Now that we have a clean break to the upside, we already have, there's a lot of confluence telling us that this thing wants to drop. We have a downside expansion model. We have a sell model. We're below the DSD low. We just got a clean break to the upside so far. So if we get a 5M bearish fair value gap and it's tapped, and then on a 1M we also get a bearish fair value gap and tap, then our probabilities go up. But that's why there's so many points of confluence, because what if we get a 5M bearish fair value gap, but then the market shoots up right past that and takes out this high and we get a double break? But if you see that pattern setup, then you can take this short, and it's a high probability trade setup that it's going to take out at the very least this low. Or again, it could give us a double break. What happens after a double break? We retrace back to one of our key points. Our key point could even be this blue zone right here. So we got to be careful. But we would eventually end up getting a crossover here from the 20 and the 50 EMA, which the market would eventually come back and tap. So we don't really have a DR confirmation yet, a spotlight confirmation. The indices not really giving us much right now. I don't think there's a retracement happening on NAS. So that's a deep, deep drop. I wanted to see if it would pull back into our range and then drop. So if this just pulls back into this into this fair value gap and then drops, I'm not interested. Yeah, I'd rather stick with oil. Let's go back to oil. Still nothing of interest as yet. About 2 minutes away from 11. So as mentioned before, right now we are waiting for a 5M bearish fair value gap here on oil. If this chart would just cooperate. If there's any specific questions anybody has, please make sure you just drop them in the comment section. We'll get that answered for you either this session or the next. Even if it's just a question about something that you're struggling with as far as learning how to trade, we can help you with that as well. The whole point of this market translator is to make things easy for you. You should be able to look at it and immediately tell which way the market wants to go and where does it want to push from. Right now we might be getting close to that 5M bearish fair value gap. So we got to wait for one more candle to print. Let's see if it leaves this open and taps it, and then on the lower time frame gives us an entry. Otherwise, again, it might just push up, give us a double break. That's the dealer revealing their hand. We know the market wants to go up. Where does it want to go up to? Most likely the new day opening gap here. That's the low-hanging fruit. And then London highs. To the downside, it would just be the down here. Since we're already well below previous day's low, let me see another 4-hour target. So that's where we're at right now. Could be heading down to here as well. Just got to remain patient. It's the patience that's going to save you. As mentioned before, let's say our 5M bearish fair value gap never comes and it gives us a double break. There are people that got FOMO and jumped in right here because they saw like, hey, this market's pushing down. They see the consolidation. They think, hey, you know what? We're probably going to drop from here. Until we see our foothold, we cannot climb this mountain or scale down it. Foothold is what you need. That's what the fair value gap is. And in doing so, if it gives us that double break, saved us anyways. Capital preservation, that's the first goal. Interesting week in general. Not too many news drivers coming off of last week. Thing about our traders is they don't get trapped. You got to keep in mind, if you back tested our strategy, the blue zone strategy, it would have been successful, I believe, the last 60 days. I only know that because I was back testing it. Sometimes I'll back test it manually, even though we have like ways of testing this. I just want to see. I want to see exactly not only how accurate it was, but what areas, what zones. Like, is there anything that we're missing? Can we add anything else? So I'm always looking through it manually. But for the last 60 days, there wasn't a single, and I only say 60 days, that's as far back as I got this weekend. yeah, there wasn't a trap. Or rather, there were traps, we just didn't get trapped. Now, that's saying a lot. Might not have been the most profitable days. You know, maybe the runs were short where we didn't find a 1 to 3. Or we might have just sat out, but I'm just saying we didn't get trapped. The market translator let us know you cannot buy this market or you cannot sell this market, and we didn't. And that's the direction the trap was. Again, this could take off without us. Right now, I'm still waiting for that bearish 5M fair value gap. It's not giving us anything yet. So if it just keeps dropping and takes out these lows without giving that to us, then I'm not interested. US 500 looks like it's making a retracement now. Let's see if it gets all the way up to the 20 EMA. I'm also a little leery about this because the only targets that are left are previous day's low, which are all the way down at this fair value gap, this next 4-hour fair value gap. Actually, it's even lower than that. It's all the way down here. That's Monday's low, all the way down there, that yellow line. Do I think we're going to get that far down? I don't know. I really wouldn't be aiming for anything past this fair value gap. Oil continuing to still drop, not really giving us any entry yet. No fair value gaps created. Even if we enter here, excuse me, as mentioned before, we'd have to have a fair value gap, a spike into it, and then that spike becomes our stop loss. So let's say if it was here, I don't even know if we have a 1 to 3. This is the lowest I want to go with my stop loss. It would be above, 2 ticks above wherever that spike is going to be. So there's a chance to eke it out, but it would have to be at least in this area here. Got to get good at just eyeballing what a 1 to 3 looks like. But 24 minutes left in our stream. We still have no confirmation here either. There is no spotlight confirmation, bullish or bearish. But right now, all the confluence is pushing to the downside. 1 minute 34 seconds left. Let's see if this 5M fair value gap stays open. And if we tap it, there's a 20 EMA in there as well. "21 seconds left. Looks like we should get a fair value gap here. That would become our foothold for an entry short. Let's change the color of that so it's easy to see. Now, obviously, on a smaller time frame, we want to tap it and create a 1M bearish fair value gap, and also tap that. A lot of points of confluence, and it's set up like that for a reason. 1, to teach you discipline and patience, and 2, to increase your accuracy. I don't know if you guys remember that old study where they gave a kid a marshmallow, or rather, sorry, they put a marshmallow in front of a kid and they said, if you can patiently wait, you'll get 2 marshmallows. And the children that couldn't wait and took that first marshmallow, they found out that they were actually less successful in life later on. So it turns out patience is not only a virtue, it's eventually the path to success. Remember, in anything in life, you need a good coach. Fractal Effects is not just a strategy, it's not just an academy, it's a mindset. We're trying to ingrain this in your brain. I want this to be second nature for you. When people ask you how many languages you speak, I want market translation to be one of them. You're able to read the markets. You're able to speak the markets. You're able to translate the markets. Right now, that's the only fair value gap created, so the market is drawn to it. You just got to wait for it to come back in and give us a proper setup. Here it comes. Just patiently waiting. Now I want to see 2 things. Obviously on the 1M, I want to see it hit that fair value gap and then create a 1M bearish fair value gap. And then on the higher time frame, I actually want to see a wicking candle. You want to see a displacement up, a big candle that goes up into it, into that fair value gap and leaves a wick. And then a candle going down in the opposite direction, a displacement candle in the opposite direction. That's displacement met with displacement. That's the better way of putting it. That's a good signal that the market wants to push. Anytime you see consolidation, gesticulation, the market's not ready to push. It's almost like giving birth, right? The body lets you know when it's time. Same thing here. These candles, that's your lifeline. They'll let you know when it's time to push. About 15 minutes left in our stream. Let's see if we get that entry. So we just tapped it right here. Now if I look at that on the 5M, now is that what I was looking for? Is that a displacement candle met with a displacement candle? Not quite. We haven't even touched the midpoint of that fair value gap. Does it have to? No. Do I want it to? Yes. Because without it, my 1 to 3 doesn't even make sense. I need to get in up here. I want to see it displace. So if it takes off from here, we'll watch it, but I'm not personally interested in taking any entries. As a matter of fact, I'm going to keep it here. I want to see a candle crash into this. Give me a wick, displacement, and then another displacement down. That's what I'm interested in. Then I'll drop down to the 1M. Here we go, another stab at it. Let's see if we get that displacement candle that I'm looking for. I want a long wick. I want it to hammer into this and wick down off of it, and then give me another candle down. I want to touch this line. About 10 minutes left. Let's see if we get it. No other job in the world where you only have to clock in for 2 hours and then you're done. You have the rest of your day to yourself. Even if, quote unquote, nothing happens, there's always something happening. There's education happening, there's learning happening, there's an understanding. But if you don't make any profits on that day, that's fine. As mentioned before, when you're starting off, you're just looking for one successful trade per week. Successful 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. That means you'll close off the month with 12% returns. No bank is going to give you that. Remember, if it takes off, it takes off. This is the other part that where most traders fail. If it's not a 1 to 3, you're wasting your time. I don't want to get in here just to ride it to here and get a 0.05 return. Doesn't make any sense. Why would I risk that much? Why would I be risking $3 to make 50 cents? Look at it that way. If I got in down here, $0.44. But what's my risk? See the difference? Doesn't make sense. Your risk to reward has to make sense. Just because I know which direction the market is going does not mean I'm going to enter a trade. The strategy is pushing anywhere from 80 to 90% accuracy. That's more accuracy than Nostradamus. But doesn't mean I'm going to enter a trade. If my risk to reward doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. I don't care about this. If it wants to push up into my zone, I'm waiting for it. I haven't seen that displacement met with displacement. 7 minutes left. Tired of all this gesticulation. Hasn't even hit the midpoint of this the consequence encroachment of this fair value gap. So if it wants to push without that, that's fine. It's going to leave without me. This is where I'm a seller. Displacement met with displacement. An immediate rebalance. Engulfing candle, whatever you want to call it. But first, I want to see the displacement in the other direction. About 5 minutes left in our stream. Let's see if we get it. So there we go, we hit the midpoint. Let's see if it spikes even higher. There you go, that's what I'm looking for. Displacement, up, met with displacement, down. First, let's see if it turns around here. Now I'll drop to the 1 minute. One minute 44 seconds left still. So this is our last candle. But again, keep watching. If you're following along, it should be in a demo account, so you can actually see if you get that trade setup where you get a 1M bearish fair value gap tapped and a closure over those series. You can take that entry, but make sure it falls within the 1 to 3. Or see if we keep just pushing up and pushing past this zone. Either way, we still need that foothold on the smaller time frame. But check us out on fractaleffects.com, where we teach high probability trading. Right now we have an amazing deal for you guys. Please hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you know when we're live. We're live Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays currently. And follow us on the social medias as well, fractal.effects. That's our time. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day.